Hi there. I'm on the floor today because it's probably the best place to talk about your feelings. It gives you kind of a sedentary thing going to give you, more thoughts to the brain to lie down. Is that what Freud said? He said that, you have to lie down in order to do a psychoanalysis because of the relaxation. I don't know about that. So today I wanted to do a different kind of video because the other day I wanted to watch something and I came across on Netflix one of my childhood specials. It's Kiki's Delivery Service. And I hadn't thought about the movie in a bit, but it's always been at the back of my heart. It's always been an important movie to me. I think the first time I watched it, I must have been maybe 10. I'm sure that if I figure out which year the Danish dub came out in cinemas, then I could figure it out. Because the movie itself is from 1989. But in Denmark, it did not get a dub until, I want to say, 2005? Oh, whatever. But yeah, the thing is that in Denmark, we did not have Studio Ghibli movies until Spirited Away came out. Because it was such an international success that it, spurred on this whole, we have to redub the old Ghibli movies so that they can be released in cinemas. And they did that. So they got all the old Ghibli movies and also all the future Ghibli movies that would be coming out, obviously, dubbed into Danish so that kids could, be entertained in cinema. And that really changed something for everyone in my sort of friend group. Friend group that was kind of non-existent at the time. Guess what? As a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends. I liked manga and I liked staying inside. When I was a kid, I was a true introvert. I did not like going out that much. I've changed a lot over the years, which is kind of weird to think about now. Anyway, the thing is, I rewatched Kiki's Delivery Service. And the thing is that I started out the movie by crying, which is very unusual for me. Usually when I'm watching movies and there's something emotional going on and I want to cry about it, it always happens at the last half of the movie. Because it's usually there where, there's the apotheosis of the film, where the entire emotional buildup finally releases. And you have a cathartic crying experience. Not at the beginning of the movie, which is why I was so caught off guard. And the thing is that I relate to Kiki and her story in quite a lot of ways, and it didn't really occur to me until that day. First of all, I also moved away at a pretty much too young age. I was 15 when I moved to Efterskole, which is like a sort of Danish boarding school, but not really. And then, when I was 16, I moved to go to high school. So I lived alone in a dorm room for a few months until I moved in with roomies. And it was a tough time to be a young teenager and trying to find your way in a pretty scary world. Of course, the world wasn't as scary back then. So yeah, that's a weird thing how it changed from me watching it as a small kid to me now watching it as an adult who's had some of these experiences that Kiki had, like moving to a strange new city where you have to do everything on your own, or you really have to learn everything that you need to learn to live alone. So that was a #relatable moment for me as I was crying there. In my sofa. I love this scene with the song playing, and it's just so fun. And then, she's just having a fine time. She's feeling the excitement of leaving home. And that was me too. Also, the environmental message. Anyway, now I'm probably not going to be filming for so long that I go through the entire movie in the background. So I'm just going to skip to the most significant part of the film, which is the part where Kiki loses her magical abilities. She can't fly anymore, for a while at least. So yeah, there's a pretty long part of the movie where she can't fly, and it's kind of breaking her existentially. She feels worthless, and she feels like she's not a real witch, and she doesn't understand what's happening to her. She doesn't understand why she feels so moody all the time, why she is the way she is. I think it's a pretty common metaphor for depression, and also for a specialized type of depression that is very much related to the whole act of becoming an adult, how hard it is, how you might even say traumatizing it is to become an adult and to try to find your way in the world, try and find your identity, which is what Kiki's entire point of the whole movie is. She has to try and find her own identity by going out into the world, even if it's scary, to try and figure out what kind of witch she is going to be. And I too was trying to find out what kind of witch I was going to be. And I just didn't know until I had gone through those 3 years of high school and I had tried to figure myself out. And now I'm in a much different place because I am closing in on the big 25 years old. And things are very much different from 10 years ago. Also very much a significant scene in the movies where Kiki and Ursula... I actually had no idea that the artist in the movie was called Ursula until someone told me. And I think that someone was Google. Because I'm pretty sure it's not brought up, or maybe it's mentioned once and I missed it. Because I was really seriously, like, when I was Googling the movie and the cast and everything, I was like, who's Ursula? What are you talking about? Anyway, so Ursula, she also has a pretty significant story that I really did relate to quite a lot because she's an artist. And when Kiki tells her about her problems and how she feels like she's lost her powers to fly, Ursula tells her that it's like when you have art block. It's like when you just don't know how to draw anything nice. And I felt that it was a very, very poignant bit of sort of meta critique, I guess, that went in there because, I mean, it's an artistic movie made by artists, all of whom know what it's like to have art block, especially probably Hayao Miyazaki, who made the movie. I'm sure he's experienced many a times in his very long life of being an artist these periods where you really do feel like you've lost your powers and there's no more magic in the world. And yeah, like it's just very poignant to me that they bring this up because even as a kid, that was also one of the things that I knew already back then that I could relate to because I have been drawing since I probably could, hold a crayon. It immediately resonated with me that there was this scene where Ursula explains exactly how it feels to have art block and to not know what to do with yourself. And the thing is, you gotta keep trying. And that's her answer to it, is that you really do have to wait until it comes back to you like it would naturally. But that's also the whole issue of it all, is that when you're depressed or when you have anxiety, it really does feel like nothing comes to you naturally anymore. It feels as if you have to force yourself to do what used to come natural to you. And it feels like you've come, to a standstill in your life and you don't know how to get out of it until the right moment appears and you know what to do suddenly. Usually, at least. I mean, anxiety and depression is a difficult thing. And it's hard to know what the cure is, so to say. But it is true what Ursula says, that in most cases, really, you just have to keep living and things will come back to you. And that's also what happens to Kiki in the end, is that she really does find a way to regain her powers as an adult, no longer a child. She knows how to control her flying better so that she can do what's important in life, which is save her friends. she has to save Tombo in the end when he's hanging off the blimp. And it really does tie in quite well with how, she's made friends in this scary new city, and it finally feels like home to her because she has, at least one friend whom she has made this deep bond with, and she wants to save his life. It's very beautiful to me. I also found it kind of interesting how in the entire movie, Kiki has a really hard time making friends with anyone her age, because everyone her age is a real asshole to her. Like throughout the whole film, even Tombo at first, whom she, becomes friends with later, he's a real idiot. Like he's really insensitive to her the first time they meet. Actually, first few times they meet. And it's just interesting that everyone that's supposedly her age, everyone that's a teenager, is snooty or rude to her. And the only people that appreciate her and her talents are, kind, older strangers. Other adults who probably know what she's going through and probably know how hard it is to go through puberty, which is probably what the movie is a metaphor for. Whether or not you think the movie is about a metaphor for puberty, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's really all about the movie's content and how good it is. There's a fly in my hair and on my shoulder. When I watched it the other day, I also watched it for the very first time in the original dub in Japanese, with subtitles, of course, because I don't speak Japanese at all, unfortunately. And it was kind of interesting to me to actually see it play out in the way it was intended, because I'd only ever watched it with the Danish dub. And I'm not a huge fan of watching things with the English dub, at least not all the time. I mean, everything seemed quite harmonious and well done in terms of dubbing. I didn't like Gigi's voice. I think Gigi, I don't know what was wrong with it, but it sounds kind of weird. It sounds not like a cat, more like an adult woman trying to sound quirky. I don't know. It just didn't seem right to me. So that was one part I wasn't really a fan of. Speaking of Gigi, it was kind of always mind-blowing to me as a kid that, Kiki figures out that she's lost her powers because she can't hear Gigi talk to her anymore. Then when she does finally regain her flying abilities, you'd think that she would have gotten back all of her magical powers, but she doesn't, because she can't hear Gigi in the very end either. And I found out through Google, and this is also what I want to talk about. I want to look at some stuff on Google, because when you just search up Kiki's delivery service, hold on, there's a little manhole cover right in the middle of our floor, and it's quite annoying to sit on, but look at this. It just opens up. It's an eyesore. So what happens is that you search Kiki's delivery service, and it will always have those, most frequently asked questions about Kiki's delivery service. And the number one is, why did Gigi stop talking? And it says in the answer, Miyazaki has said that Gigi represents the childish side of Kiki, and the reason why she loses her ability to communicate with him is because she has grown up. Okay. The thing is that the second question is Gigi a boy or girl? And in the original Japanese script, Gigi is actually female. Interesting. But the third answer, which comes back to the thing about Gigi speaking, is in the original Japanese script, Kiki loses her ability to communicate with Gigi permanently, but the American version adds a line that implies that she is once again able to understand him at the end of the film. And I just want to know what went through, the people who were responsible for the dubbing of the American version. Were they scared that kids were going to be upset that Gigi couldn't speak anymore? Like, really, what was it that was going on? Because it kind of feels like they really just added that one line at the end. Because in the very, very last scene where Gigi is in, Gigi, meows at Kiki. and it's just a meow. So they probably dubbed in Gigi saying like, "Hey, Kiki," or something. I don't know. What does he say? He, she. Cats and their genders are confusing me. So yeah, apparently, I hadn't seen that one before, the question of is Gigi a boy or girl? And apparently she's a girl cat, which is also strange to me because in the Danish dub, it's a guy's voice for Gigi. And I know voices don't really have genders, but Gigi is voiced by a male actor in Denmark. So that really sort of threw me for a loop that they didn't read that note, apparently. Because Gigi is definitely voiced by a woman in the Japanese dub. So I don't really know who was responsible for taking those decisions in the other dubs. Literally, like there are 5 of the first questions are about Gigi and not speaking to Kiki anymore. I don't know why they keep doing this. The first one answered all of your questions. What are the other questions? Is Kiki's dress black or purple? And it there's this explanation or description here, and it kind of boggles me. It says, Kiki has short black hair. Okay, I'm on board. Which she ties up using a large amaranth red bow. Okay, it's dark right now, but amaranth? Amaranth? That's not amaranth. Amaranth is like a purplish red, like very purplish, leaning onto almost like a fuchsia. Not this. Definitely not that. Come on, that's not amaranth, blood orange. Fuck off. She wears a medium-sleeved jet black dress, which appears to be violet or indigo at times. There's another fly on the motherfucking microphone. Shoe. Anyway, white undergarments that consist of a tank top and bloomers and amaranth red flats that look scarlet red at times. Look scarlet red at times, probably because they are scarlet red, not amaranth. Oh, she's not wearing shoes in that scene. Okay, whatever. The next question is Kiki's delivery service on Netflix? Fly? Oh my god, it's on me and everything. It's the first, fly of the year. And it had to feature in this video, apparently. And here's a good question. Is Kiki depressed? Though never diagnosed in the film, Kiki is dealing with what looks like depression, at least mildly. To her, nothing seems to be going right, giving her no ability to properly function. Ursula, but why do I keep saying Ursula? Ursula can tell that Kiki is not feeling herself. And no, not like she's not feeling herself. No, she's not feeling herself. And suggests they take a trip out to her cabin for the night. It's not like when Beyonce says, I'm feeling myself. Not like that. I think it was meant in the more traditional sense. Then there's another question about what does Kiki say to Ursula that tells us about her ability to fly. That's actually a really good quote. Kiki tells Ursula, oh my god, stop saying Ursula. She tells her friend, without even thinking about it, I used to be able to fly. Now I'm trying to look inside myself to find out how I did it. And that's just the real, thing of it all. That, yeah, you gotta look inside yourself. And you didn't even think about how you did it before, and now suddenly everything's a lot harder because you're becoming an adult. Anyway, next question bothers me because it says, does Tombo marry Kiki? I don't know who did this. I'm pretty sure Google picked up someone's WordPress fan fiction and decided that this was canon, because the answer to this question is, making it clear her feelings to Tombo never changed. I think there's something missing from that sentence. When Kiki turns 20, Tombo assures her about his feelings. 2 years later, they get married. 13 years from marriage, they have twins, a boy named Toto and a girl, Nini. Why? Why? I mean, okay, I'm not going to be the one to bash people for writing fan fiction about their ship. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't like it when it's like 13-year-olds and you fantasize about them becoming adults and marrying each other. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I don't like it. I feel uneasy. Actually, kind of want to look at that now. What's going on in that WordPress? Oh, it says that Kiki's Delivery Service was based on a short book. Oh, wait, it's a novel series. The movie only covers up to volume 2 of the original 6 volumes of books. The original series depicts the story of Kiki from when she's 13 all the way to 35 years old. Okay, so it wasn't fan fiction. It was actual canon from the Kiki expanded universe. Okay, so what happens? I'm gonna read this. I presume this starts after the events of the movie. And it starts with Tombo goes to another town for school, now living far from Kiki, who is now 16 years old. As she supports Tombo and his studies, she is saddened that he was not returning home during the summer. Although she starts to change that feeling as she's getting letters from Tombo all summer long. Hold on. So the thing is, I had forgotten when I rewatched the movie that the whole thing about Kiki going away from her family at such an early age is that, she has to go to a foreign city to train to become a witch because you have to do that away from home for some reason, and it's not really explained. But what is said is that it's supposed to last a year. And I guess that means that you can either stay in your new city or return home after a year has passed. But, I guess it is said in the movie that Kiki's mom, stayed in the town that she went to when she was 13 herself as a young witch and, stayed there forever. But I don't know, it was kind of implied that when you're done with your tutorship or, I don't know, whatever you would call it, you would be returning, or at least you would, be doing whatever you wanted. And I guess doing whatever you want is also the same as, staying where you are. And I guess that is kind of a nice story that, she stays in the same city with Tombo and everyone. I don't know what I'm talking. I don't know. Why am I complaining? Now, as she's close to turning 20, she meets another guy, Sayao, whatever. A handsome, successful dress designer. He becomes attracted to the witch, Kiki, and approaches her. Weird sentence. Kiki keeps giving him the cold shoulder, but soon becomes dazzled by the dresses he designs. At the end of Volume 5, Kiki tells Sayao that she wants him to make her wedding dress when she marries Tombo, making it clear her feelings to Tombo never changed. When Kiki turns 20, Tombo assures her about his feelings. 2 years later, they get married. 13 years from marriage, they have twins, a boy named Toto and a girl Nini, both being the same age as Kiki when she first went out to be on her own. The kids too experience the same emotions as Kiki. After some hardships, Nini went out on her own journey as a witch. Toto was fascinated about witches and wanted to be one as well. He does not possess the powers of a witch, but he still aspired to be one. Like Nini, he too went on a journey to find his way of living like a witch. Gigi marries Nunu and have 18 kittens, all with black and white polka dots on them. Okay, I guess. That's a very short plot summary. I'm guessing that if there are 6 volumes in total, that there would be quite a lot of stuff going on. And you can only summarize so little. It sounds like an okay story, but I do understand why Miyazaki, took the most, I suppose, important parts and went from there instead of trying to make it a big life story, throughout Kiki's entire existence. Obviously, her, moving to this new city with all these strange things going on is the more exciting part of a story like this. That also reminds me that it wasn't that long ago that I actually bought and read the original novel for Howl's Moving Castle. And that was such a fun experience because it's very different. The book is so different from the movie. It could almost, not be any different. The characters are kind of themselves. I mean, still there's quite a lot of differences, and it's a whole lot to get into, but the gist of it all is that the movie is super fun. But the book is way more fun. Like, it's way more humoristic. And there's just so much going on and so many things that I had never kind of noticed about this story and these characters. And it's really worth reading, honestly. I'm pretty sure there's also a sequel to it because it ends kind of open-ended and very different from the movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was something like a sequel to it. Are there any more interesting questions from Google? Oh, one of the questions is about the town where Kiki moves to. And apparently the town is called Koriko. Or Koriko? And I had no idea because it does not say that in the movie at all. And it's actually a very cool world building they do because everything is, it's a bustling city and it's full of signs. So there's quite a lot of script and like street names and stuff like that. And it's all written in a language that doesn't exist. And I think it looks very cool. But the thing is, it says here, did you know Koriko in Kiki's delivery service is around 80% based on Stockholm, the capital of Sweden? More specifically, it is based on the old town in Stockholm, the oldest part of the capital, and the location of the royal palace. The other 20% is based on Visby, a historical town in Sweden. When I watched the movie, I felt like it looked quite a lot more like maybe Prague, maybe even the north of Germany. I don't know. I'm not really much of a city expert, architectural artist kind of type. But I had not expected it to be Swedish inspired. I mean, there's quite a lot of inspired facades and maybe even the color palette of Koriko that you can see in some Nordic countries, cities, in their houses. But I had not expected that. That was actually very interesting. If it's true, I'm not quite sure about the validity of the source here, but I'll take it. There's also a very stupid question here because it says, is Osono pregnant? Yeah, she literally says it in the movie, and she goes into labor in the end of the movie. How did you miss this? Oh, here's a good one. What is the moral of Kiki's delivery service? And this is from an essay, apparently. Kiki teaches us that failure is an inevitable part of the creative process and, most importantly, is always temporary. She shows us that if we stop having fun, the magic will slip away. And when we feel like we've lost our magic, we have to trust in ourselves, recharge, and find our own inspiration. And that's very true, I think. I really understand what they were going for. And you really do have to think about the whole temporary part of it, because sometimes it feels like you're in a slump forever. But the thing is, everything like that is temporary, and everything can come back to you if you've lost it. And I think that's a very beautiful lesson that we sometimes forget in life. Here's a weird question that isn't related to the movie. Is my neighbor Totoro sad? The answer is, parents need to know that my neighbor Totoro is a fine pick for the entire family. Totoro himself might look and sound a bit odd, but he's quite sweet and gentle. The protagonist's girls have an ill mother with an unnamed disease, but the moments in the hospital aren't sad or depressing. That's true, and I don't know. I mean, it's not the saddest Ghibli movie at all. Like, I remember it like the mother is in the hospital, but she comes home in the end, doesn't she? I'm pretty sure she, recovers and comes home. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be sad. It's a very long time since I've watched My Neighbor Totoro. It was never my favorite Ghibli movie. I'm much more partial to Kiki's Delivery Service, and especially Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away. They're absolutely the S tier best movies. Wait a minute, hold on. So the question here is, does Kiki's Delivery Service have a sequel? And the answer is the long-awaited Kiki sequel is finally here. Lucha's Enchanted Stitching, coming to theaters in 2020. Huh? Wait, it was an April Fool's. God damn it. And there's art of of Kiki and Tombo all grown up and their children, which, look like them, but sort of gender swapped. Okay. So that's a thing that Ghibli does, is they do April Fools where they tell people there's going to be a sequel to a movie, and there never is. I'm pretty sure the only Ghibli film that has a sequel is The Cat in the Hat. It's not called The Cat in the Hat. It's called The Cat something. And I'm pretty sure it has 2 movies. So, I don't know. I think that's enough. So yeah, that's really it. I'm just going to go lie down again, and I'll just watch the rest of the movie. And, well, thanks a lot for watching. I hope the audio isn't horrible. And if it is, then too bad. And, bye.